Okay, saying I'm live. It's God's White Knight coming to you live doing double trouble with Chief Blackbear here on 107 day, January 7th, 2025. What a day it's been. So, if you're not familiar with this, I got two channels going here, Chief Blackbear and God's White Knight. Try to see, I got somebody watching in Chief Black Bear, but nobody watching in God's White Knight yet, I think. But anyways, I'll get right down into it here. Ben, I just started this channel with God's White Knight, and this is the first week, and it did get over 1,000 views on shorts. And I've been kind of promoting this, um, discussing about the Great Awakening. Hey there, we need peace. It's good seeing you there. Chief Black Bear's chat. Not sure if anybody's in God's White Knights yet. Looks like there's not. But anyways, I've been wanting to talk about the Great Awakening. Hey there, Melinda, how's it going? And I've been wanting to do like a comparison of the Great Awakening and the woke movement, which are actually like polar opposites. But I'm here in California on 107 day, and I guess you guys have heard. Hey there, CGO. Have you guys heard that Los Angeles is like freaking burning up big time right now? Major fire going on, like 100-mile-an-hour wind, and like people had to leave their cars and get out and take off running and stuff like that. Have you guys heard that? That's today, and so and it's 107 day, kind of like October 7th in 2023, and so when we come up on these 107 days, I ought to be saying reverse a 701 day because, kind of got a talking code about that. But today's the reverse a 701 day. Hope I won't get in any trouble. And, this fire in Los Angeles is really gnarly. It looks like might take out the Getty Museum. It might not. It's already taken out Jennifer Lopez's house and some other P. Diddy crowd people's houses. But there's a lot of stuff going on underneath Los Angeles and underneath the Getty Museum, to where I think the reverse of 701 is going to send Chief Blackbear down there to take care of business. If you remember, I guess a month ago, we had the Ventura County fire, and they had to send Chief Blackbear down there to take care of business underneath Point Magoo and all that. So now the fire started in Pacific Palisades, and it was real bad, and Pemor's got a golf course there. And pretty much like torching the whole place this afternoon. And then it burned its way all the way down to the beach, like around Marina Del Rey and Santa Monica, Sunset Strip. And then it's still coming this way. We're pretty safe here in Santa Barbara at the moment, but it's hard to say what's going to happen. Now, hopefully you guys subscribe to God's White Knight channel there. And yeah, Melinda, I don't know if you did. You might subscribe to God's White Knight channel, and you might try to do some chat over there. Last week when we did a double trouble show, I forgot to check on God's White Knight, and there's a few people in the chat room, but nobody was talking back. Yeah, go ahead, Melinda, and look at God's White Knight and subscribe. It's my new channel that I'm trying to build because this channel is pretty censored. I've gotten like 4 subscribers in the last year. Actually, it's 11. I've gotten, yeah, 11 subscribers in the last year on Chief Blackbear's channel. And so, they just don't show this. They don't show Chief Blackbear's stuff. And God's White Knight only had like 15 subscribers. It's up to like 22 now. We had 15 subscribers and got over 1,000 views this week on shorts primarily. But even the videos are getting like the live show or something got quite a bit more than 15 views, and there's only 15 subscribers at the time. I think one of the uploads I did got about 60 views, but the shorts get a lot of views, like maybe like 500 views per short. So that channel is doing pretty good. And what I've been pitching on that channel, trying to train the algorithm, is that we're talking about the Great Awakening. Now, for me, the Great Awakening began back in 2020. I see somebody watching God's White Knight's channel here. If you want to talk to me in the chat room, I'll see it. But for me, the Great Awakening began back in 2020, primarily when Kobe Bryant was in the helicopter wreck right down there where the fire is now. Well, fire's not quite, like a few miles from the fire, but I was real suspicious because they wouldn't let anybody like film the helicopter. CGO, it's good seeing you there. Right on. And then you guys come over here to God's White Knight channel. It's good because it needs the hours watched. That's how they judge you, is by how long you watch the show. So don't click out of Chief Blackbear. Keep both windows open and watch the show on both channels. Hey there, Joker. How's it going? It's good seeing you. And chat in both channels and leave comments and likes. But the comments are real important, and I guess the likes are real important to show that the audience is interacting with me. At Chief Blackbear, it doesn't matter so much because they're not going to show the Chief's channel no matter what, because he's cyber enemy number one. But God's White Knight's a brand new character that they don't know about with a different phone number. So they might let God's White Knight, build a pretty decent channel, but they might not, because I already made mention of the reverse of 701, which is today, and we got the gnarly fire going on, to where the reverse of the 71st letter of the alphabet probably send Chief Blackbear down there beneath the Getty Museum and beneath LA, take care of business. You guys all know what the Chief does down there in those tunnels and everything. But he gets rid of the evil. And by the way, like about 90% of the reptilians have vanished, but there's still about 10% of the reptilians left. So getting back to the Great Awakening, back, I think it was January 20th, 2023. No, excuse me, I'm sorry, 2020 is when I sort of started becoming awake, but it was actually New Year's Eve on 2019 when I first began to become awake, to wake up. Now, I'm sure anybody watching my channels here knows the difference between being awake and being woke. Woke kind of came in and tried to steal the Great Awakening, and make it like they're the ones that are causing everybody to be woke, and it's kind of sort of polar opposites. And then there was red pilling, and then it became black pilling after that. But going back to New Year's Eve on 2019, after I had written Trump's Trillion Trees, before Trump signed on to it, he signed on to it in January of 2020, before the Kobe Bryant helicopter crash. Trump signed on to Trump's Trillion Trees before Kobe went down, but after New Year's Eve 2019. I forget, it was at the World Economic Forum. I forget the exact date. But now what was significant for me as far as waking up on New Year's Eve was I was at a party, and the woman who was hosting the party got bumped off since then, as many people in Santa Barbara do. Hopefully not because of me, even though PTSD looking back at it. So, anyways, I'm at a party, and it's a New Year's Eve party, and I go bring it up. I wanted to know why, because I was a tree guy. I'd already written Trump's Trillion Trees, and I'm trying to plant trees on the planet. But what I didn't understand is why we're chopping down millions of Christmas trees every year in the name of Jesus. It just didn't make sense to me. So, I asked at the party, why are we chopping down millions of Christmas trees every year when we need more trees on the planet, not less? And how do the Christmas trees relate to Jesus? Okay, so that's when I found out about all this pagan stuff. Not all of it, but is the bam. This is what woke me up, awakened me. And it's kind of like being woke also, because the woke people are the pagans. So they've been and if you go back to like Genesis 3, when the serpent beguiled Eve, if you look up what beguiled means, it kind of means like to use your charisma on somebody, like to use your charisma to deceive somebody. So we can look up what beguile means in the at Google and write it in the chat. What does beguile mean? But it's like to use your charisma to deceive somebody, which is what the serpent did to Eve, and what the serpents have been doing to all of us ever since. And so we essentially, what the Great Awakening teaches kind of is that, well, there's a bunch of Luciferians or serpents or somebody like that, essentially ruling the world for a long time, ever since Eve, ever ever since the serpent beguiled Eve. The serpent's been in control. The reptilians. See, my theory is that the serpent is a reptilian. And there's more than one. So, anyways, at that New Year's Eve party, to me was that Christmas was originally a pagan holiday, as basically all of our American holidays are. But so Christmas started out. I don't know the name of the holiday, on December 25th, to where like the pagans would have like 12 different children of God, kind of like Christians have just Jesus Christ as the Son of God, but the pagans had 12 sons of God. I don't know if any of them were women or not, but 12 children of God, and they all had the same birthday, December 25th. And so, and they were a very sacrificial culture, and they're doing all that hocus pocus and everything. But one of the things they did was sacrifices, like animal, child, or tree sacrifices, and so on. Hey there, H-Ray, how's it going? It's good seeing you there. And I'm here in Chief Blackbear's chat room. Anybody still talking? Yeah, Joker, you guys keep talking to me there. And let me know what beguile means, CJO or Joker. But anyways, what you had going on was the pagans. This is back like right around the beginning of Christianity, like maybe less than 100 AD, like in the first century after Christ. So, but leading up before that, you still had pagans before Christ. Before Jesus Christ, there were still pagans, like up in Bavaria and stuff like that. Northern Europe, full of pagans, and they were like a sacrificial religion to where you make sacrifices, like you would sacrifice a baby or something to the god, and that's what the god wanted, kind of like Baal or Baal or whatever his name is, Moloch. He'd want like a baby. You got to sacrifice a baby. Well, if you don't want to sacrifice a baby, well, you sacrifice a cow. But if you want to sacrifice a cow, well, a tree's better than nothing. So that's what they would do, is sacrifice a tree, because it was easier to sacrifice a tree than a baby or livestock. So that's where the thing about the Christmas trees came in. So they had been doing that since before Jesus was born. So then after they killed Jesus and after he rose from the dead and all that, the Roman Catholics start building their religion, based on Jesus as the Lord and Savior. The Catholics and the Christians, but it was primarily Catholics being built out of Rome, the Vatican. And they were like controlling that part of the world. And this is before the Roman Empire collapsed, probably why the Roman Empire collapsed. Hey there, Joni, it's good seeing you. This probably has to do with why the Roman Empire collapsed. So, anyways, they go working their way up into Northern Europe, looking to conquer everybody, take over Europe. And they cross paths with the pagans. And, the pagans, they're all underground and all that stuff and everything, too, kind of like the Catholics became. And so, let's see, I'm just looking at God's White Knights channel here. January 7th, Orthodox Christmas on Julian's calendar. Wow, so today's Orthodox Christmas on the Julian calendar, according to CGO. So, anyways, the Romans and the Roman Catholics, went up into the Bavaria area and met up with the pagans. And instead of conquering the pagans, the Catholics got beguiled by the pagans, because it's my theory that the pagans may have, had some serpent blood in them. They're real good, real charismatic with all their hocus pocus and everything, They get them spinning eyes, like the snake on I forget the name of the show. I forget, it was a cartoon, but the snake, the eyes would spin like that, and he'd hypnotize you. The Jungle Book, on the Jungle Book. I forget what the name of the snake was. Yeah, it's to deceive we need peace, but it's to deceive with charisma. Like you use your charm. It's a charm. It's charm is the word. You charm. You charm somebody to deceive them. You use your charm to deceive. That's what beguile means, is to use your charm to deceive somebody, which is what the serpents have been doing to us the whole time. So, anyways, the Roman Catholics come up there to Bavaria, and the pagans go beguiling the Roman Catholics. They probably got some hot chicks. They're all witches, right? They're probably a bunch of transgenders, actually. But they're probably dressed up as like women, They probably were women, but I don't know. I wasn't there. I mean, this is like in the first century AD. So, anyways, what they do, the Roman Catholic Rome, we got to conquer everybody, and then the pagans are like, we got to beguile everybody. So here you got the mighty might of the Roman Empire squaring up with the Bavarian pagans, and the Bavarians, they're going to use their charm and their beautiful women and their serpents, and Romans, they're going to use their might. We're going to just fight. Essentially, what happened is the Romans kind of got beguiled, but then what they did was love with each other and kind of became one. So the pagans and the Romans kind of make love with each other and create the Catholics. And then they go sharing that pagan holiday. The Romans kind of steal it, or maybe the pagans, being as crafty as they are, they're saying, "Hey, Catholics, Romans, why don't you guys celebrate our holiday on December 25th, and we'll even say that your Messiah, Jesus Christ, is one of our God's children." Maybe that's how you got the 13 families. You see, the pagans only had 12 families, or excuse me, 12 sons of God. And then when they add Jesus, that's the 13th son, or the 13th child of God for the pagans. So the pagans, with their charm and beguiling, they go basically adopting Jesus Christ. Oh, yeah, 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 we'll call it Christmas. And then we'll make a bunch of money off it. So that, like, oh, money, Catholics. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. We need some money. You got any gold? We'll take it from you. So, anyways, that's how we started chopping down all the Christmas trees. And that on New Year's Eve 2019 is when I began to wake up, at least to the pagan thing. And there was this pagan that I call the witch that used to babysit my daughter. And her husband would beat her. I called him the witch beater in front of my daughter. And this is back when I'm going through the divorce. So, and you guys probably remember this, me talking about it at least. But anyway, she was the witch, and I am. It was a major divorce, and this is still going on like 10 years later, because what happened was, you see this pagan connection here already. Now the pagans, they later essentially grow into the Illuminati. The folks with the if you're at God's White Knights channel, somebody new. The Illuminati's the folks on the back of the dollar bill, Freemasons, the pyramid with the eyeball, and they're still in power now, and the Catholics are still in power. So between the Illuminati and the Catholics and the Jews, we're kind of crap out of luck because they got a lot of power, and we're just a bunch of little tiny people. Excuse me. So I began to start to figure out what was going on that New Year's Eve. And then Trump signed on to Trump's trillion trees. And then Kobe got in a helicopter accident. And I'm still very suspicious of it. I personally don't think Kobe died, but maybe he did. I don't know. Okay, but anyways, on that same day, the cover charge where you need ID and $19 came to America on the same day Kobe wrecked his helicopter, or he didn't wreck it, but he was in a helicopter crash in a junkie helicopter with another pilot when Kobe had a nice helicopter and Kobe was a good pilot. So, anyways, that was approximately January 20th or something, 2020. So then, like about a month later, P-Mert goes shutting down the economy. What a retard. Well, the cover charge for you need ID and $19, man, it's going to take us all out. We got to shut down the economy, show everybody what's going on. And then that retard P-Mert, he goes putting Fakauchi and the scarf lady in charge of everything. You guys remember that in the chat room? Remember when P-Mert goes putting Fakauchi and the scarf lady right in front of all of us to see what they were doing? And then you had the Gates of Hell. Remember the Gates of Hell and Fakauchi? They were in on it. And those of you that go back, and I started doing the Lowdown 2020 way back then. And so once P-Mert shut down the economy, I'm like, what the F? And so then they shelter us in place and make us stay in place. So then I go getting on the internet when I'm sheltering in place, find out what's going on. And I just start typing, and all of a sudden, the two things that kept coming up more than anything was the pyramid with the eyeball in it, the Illuminati, and then the 17th letter of the alphabet, Anon. Can't say that word on YouTube, but the Illuminati and the 17th letter of the alphabet, Anon, kept coming up over and over and over. And I had never heard of either one of them. I mean, at this point, I still wasn't quite awake. I mean, I had all my gut instincts, and I'd been using my third eye all my life and everything. And I probably spent most of my life in the fifth dimension, anyways. But then, they did their takedown on me and came after my daughter, which brought me way into 3D, and that's how I became God's Knight. Was basically fighting for my daughter and the Constitution in our country and all that. So when P-Mert goes shutting down the economy and then sheltering us in place and putting Fakauchi and the scarf lady in charge and the gates of hell, and they were coming out with the chip scene. You guys remember what the chip scene is in code? Which was said to be the mark of the beast. And you got that chip scene. So when I go investigating, and I'm seeing all this 17th letter of the alphabet, Anon stuff and Illuminati stuff, I'm also seeing stuff about, Johnny, I said the guacamole and chips. I call it the chip scene in 2020. Guacamole and chips was your code. I call it the chip scene. Let's see, what's that saying there? Farmer's Almanac calendar information. So today is, what is it? Orthodox Christmas on Julian's calendar. Okay, so anyways, I go looking into what's going on with that cover charge where you need the ID and $19, and it comes up with the well, first of all, they were trying to push the Chinese meat market story. Oh, they got 3 different animals mixed together, and them Chinese, they gotta quit eating like that. Okay, so what are the 3 animals? I go looking into it. They were bat, snake, and human mixed together. Oh, them Chinese, man, the meat market story. But that's how they say that the cover charge where you need the ID and the $19 came about. So then you had a reboot. In the same day that I heard the Chinese meat market story, I heard about I learned about the scientist that blew the whistle on the bio lab to the Chinese government, and he blew the whistle how they let it escape. and then he got killed. So right off the get go, I could see, that there's something up. That the meat market story was not true, and I believe the scientist that got killed. Hey there, Monica. How's it going? It's good seeing you there. Snow White from, is that Delaware? So, anyways, yeah, I'm glad to see you guys here in God's White Knight's channel. That's why you're saying Snow White, because I'm God's White Knight. But so you guys, stay on this channel and keep it going because it needs the views and the likes and the comments and the chat and all, the interaction and all that. Just gonna write hi everybody here. Did it go? I hit the wrong button or what? How do you do it? I'm trying to figure out how to chat. I wrote hi everybody and hit enter and it didn't work. I don't know why. Oh well. I read it in the wrong place. No, it's up there. I see it. It did go. So, anyways, where was I? Yeah, the Chinese thing, is real suspicious. And so then, I don't know if you guys ever saw it. You guys in both chat rooms, did anybody ever see the video? Hey there, Barbara Foster. It's good seeing you. We're Energy. Thanks, Brother White Knight, for having me. Glad to have you there, We're Energy. Right on. Good seeing you. Did anybody in 2020 see the video? I was one of the first people to see it because, the 17th letter of the alphabet just threw that on me. It's called Out of Shadows. Did anybody see that? Let me know in the chat room if anybody saw the video Out of Shadows. But anyways, that video awakened me. It gave the complete lowdown. And remember when they did the cover charge where you need the ID and the $19 that they were trying to shut down Christmas, going to church, not Christmas, Easter. For that, coming up on April, when Easter is, they were trying to shut down, and they did shut down. They did it. They pulled it off, but they made it to where nobody was allowed to go to church on Easter Sunday back in 2020. Okay. So yeah, Barbara, so you saw that. So anyways, and then I learned about when you when you come down to the marina with a Brava witch. Barbara, you know what I'm talking about? I'm sure Joni knows what I'm talking about. It was code. When you come down to the marina with a Brava witch, this is code for who's running the show. Yeah, it was that Hollywood thing that they were the stunt men, and they told us about what's going on. They kind of started to wake me up a bit, but they go throwing in now the marina with the Brava witch pretty much was in charge of Microsoft, and she or he was coming out with these things that you put on here, and it's like a computer here, and it just gives you like everything in the world, like right here. I forget what it did, but it was supposed to brainwash you into being one of them. Once you put that thing on, you're one of them. It never came out, but that's what we got instead of Easter Sunday. We got that from the marina with the Brother Witch. I'm just reading. Yeah, everybody took. Yeah, they wiped out the stores for sure. Yeah, they made us wear that stupid ugly thing on our face. But anyways, so what you had back then was Marina with the Brava Witch had the kings of the world drunk on her wine of immorality. Now I was also picking up Bible verses that didn't come. That was for me the thing about the wine of immorality. And at the time, if you guys and go back. Remember, we were trying to figure out who King of the West, excuse me, who the King of the West was going to be, because we knew that the King of the West was going to ride in on his white horse and save the world from evil rule. But at that point, we didn't know that the King of the West was going to be Chief Blackbear, who was going to ride in on Oliver and save the world from evil rule. Remember, the story hadn't been written that well yet, but we were trying to figure out who the King of the West was going to be. And there's a possibility it could have been Elvis, but we said, nah, we're going to move him to Pope. Remember when we were going to put Elvis in there at Pope? Bob Joyce, he's going to be the new Pope. And then we thought maybe the King of the West might be President Kennedy or John F. Kennedy Jr. or P. Mert. We didn't know who the King of the West was going to be. And then P. Mert and Chief Blackbear got that rivalry going, and they started doing all the wife swapping and everything. And and we found out that Chief Blackbear had rescued Princess Diana, and we kind of were wondering why Baron P. Mert's son looked so much like Princess Diana, and started thinking how, that P. Mert, that Diana was screwed on wife swap then. So that's back in the spring of 2020 when I began to wake up. And remember, I had to. Well, I know Joni watched the Lowdown 2020 from the beginning. I don't know about everybody else, but and it's a real good show. It's full on encyclopedia of stuff, man. I mean, I threw down so much stuff and they delete me all the time. And that's when the censorship began. Melinda was there. Yeah, and we need peace. You were there. Okay. Monica, I don't know if you were there or not. CGO, I think he came along after. Joker came along after. Yeah, yeah, okay. Joker was there. Boat Rat Matt, yeah, yeah, yeah. But how about Matt the Rat Scientist? That was the beginning of Lowdown 2020. Went by Matt the Rat Scientist, and then when they started censoring me, I opened up another channel, Matt Boat Rat, and started doing Double Trouble. And I kept those two channels alive for a long time, and then they both got deleted. So by the time we get like halfway awake, I don't know if you guys were awake yet before the George Floyd thing happened. Now this is when woke comes into play, is with George Floyd. Does anybody remember that? Like the first of all, P. Mert shuts down the economy, and then we do the shelter in place. And as we're sitting, and there's the killer waves at the Cinco de Mayo gig. When they did the shelter in place, they put in those killer wave at the Cinco de Mayo gig trees, and them. You guys know what I'm talking about? Those things that they snuck in for the killer waves at the Cinco de Mayo gig. They snuck it in during the shelter in place. Yeah, tell P. Miller to get in here. We need to talk to P. Miller. So, anyways, during the shelter in place, they snuck in the killer waves at the Cinco de Mayo gig that you're not allowed to talk about that. And then P. Murt opened back up the economy, and within about 24 hours of opening up the economy, they did the George Floyd fiasco. And then that's when Black Lives Matter and everybody, they would start doing these well, you had to call them a peaceful protest, but essentially what was going on was they were burning down these cities all over the country, man, and there just happened to be a stack of bricks out on the road that the peaceful protesters would just happen to come across a stack of bricks and start throwing them in the windows and the Molotov cocktails, throwing them, burning down cities all over America. And then the censorship became extreme, and you could not um, call it a riot. You had to call it a peaceful protest. If you didn't call it a peaceful protest, then you just got your channel deleted. That's just the way it worked. And so that's kind of how I had my. But there, my horses' lives matter. Peaceful protest were much more peaceful than the Black Lives Matter peaceful protest. And then we found out about Antifa. Remember, nobody had ever heard about Antifa before the George Floyd fiasco. And then all of a sudden, we're all hearing about Antifa. And then, what was his code name? Sorry, George. You guys know how I'm talking about? Sorry, George. George, sorry. Sorry, George. Sorry, George. But he was in charge of, you know, financing like Antifa and BLM and all that. And he's kind of the guy that broke out the woke program. You know, the Antifa and Black Lives Matter and Sorry George kind of put together the woke movement because the Great Awakening was happening. You know, during the shelter in place, people like me, you know, began to wake up. And I'm sure a lot of you folks began to wake up also during the shelter in place, which was by design. You see, we were supposed to stay home and wake up while they snuck in the killer waves at the Cinco de Mayo gig. However, I didn't even know that the killer waves at the Cinco de Mayo gig were bad for you back then. And then, if you remember, they started doing all this Hollywood stuff at the hospital to where they have a bunch of mannequins on the stretchers and kinds of actors waiting to get in the hospital. Remember that kind of stuff? Like the hospital, and then they would show the same hospital scene that was actually in Italy, and they would say that it's New York or California or whatever, and it'd be the same hospital scene. You know, the same actors waiting in line and the same mannequins, just a little bit different scenario, but it'd be the same people saying, "Oh, the hospitals are overcrowded in L.A. Oh, the hospitals are overcrowded in New York." Okay, so this is where it gets very interesting. And by the way, as I speak right now, I'll bet that the Getty Museum is burning on fire and Chief Blackbear's down there in them freaking crystal and gold city that was built for Queen Lizard breath. I bet Chief Blackbear's down there right now taking care of business as we make this show. So what came to our attention way back then was what was going on beneath the Getty Museum and what was going on beneath Central Park in New York City. Central Park. Okay, so then we had two ships, hospital ships. What were their names? Mercy and Constant. Who can tell me the names of the hospital ships? 2020. One was put at New York and one was put at LA. And I did a scoop on one in LA. I think it was Constance or something like that. I can't remember. I don't remember it. Anybody telling me? Yeah, it's terrible. And what's going on right now with this fire is terrible. I've been following it all day, man. It's a terrible scene. They're ganked down there. I'm just gonna try to find out the name of the hospital ship. I know one was Mercy. That's the one they sent to New York, and the one they sent to Los Angeles. It's called something like Comfort or Constance. Of course, my phone's always got to screw up when I'm trying. Okay, come on, Google. You don't have to be so slow. It's really difficult. My phone's all used up and it's all bugged or whatever, hacked. Comfort, is that it? No, it wasn't Comfort. I think it was Constance. Name of hospital, ship. Let's see if Google can help out. It was I don't know. I'm sorry to slow it down here. They later sent it to the Suez Canal. Let's try to name a hospital ship in LA 2020. Let's see what comes up. Okay, it was Mercy that was here in LA. Let's try New York. Just finish up real quick with this. NY 2020. Let's see. It was Comfort. Good job. Who said that? Monica. Right on. Good job. It was Comfort. Okay. So what they said, and I did a story. The train got derailed and everything going to Mercy down in LA. And by this time, I had already figured out that Michael Jackson and Elvis Presley were both alive. I already learned that already. Okay, and I learned that Michael Jackson was working on freeing the children because he was a abused child. You know, they had pretty much did Michael Jackson the way they did Justin Bieber recently. By the way, the P Diddy crowd, they're burning up right now as we do this show. Well, P Diddy ain't there anymore, but J Lo, her house burned already today, and I don't, I don't, man, they're all burning up, man. The whole place is bad. Okay, what's going on in LA is bad news right now. Seriously, it is bad. So, anyways, they had Mercy in LA and they had Comfort in New York. And they said, "Oh, there's so many people with the cover charge where you need ID and $19 that we're gonna fill up these ships." They didn't. They didn't put nobody with the cover charge where you need the ID and $19. None of them folks went on the ships. What they did was they went down underneath the Getty Museum and underneath Central Park, and they rescued a bunch of children and put the children on the ships. And then later, when Chief Blackbear hacked the autopilot on that Evergreen Ever Given container ship in the Suez Canal and crossed it up sideways, blocking the entire canal, we sent hospital ship Mercy or Comfort, I forget. One of those two, I think it was Mercy, but that was Comfort. I don't know, one of the two. We sent that to the Suez Canal for the same reason, because the Evergreen Ever Given, yeah, Evergreen Ever Given ship, you know, is full of drugs, weapons, and children, which are the three biggest businesses going on in them shipping containers. Hope I don't get deleted for talking about this. But this part of the Great Awakening and it's part of the woke movement. So, The woke movement, you had Black Lives Matter and Antifa and Sorry George. And then let's not forget about Diddy. He's part of it. And then, back in 2020, I called him the Pimp of Babylon. None other than Jeffrey Epstein, the Pimp of Babylon. That was his code name. Yeah, those children were in bad shape. They were in real bad shape. But yeah, whew. So this is all part of the Great Awakening now. If you guys, I've been building up this show. I don't see any new subscribers in the chat room. Maybe, but maybe not. But God's White Knight's channel here. We're energy. No, that's in Chief Blackbear's channel. But most of you guys are regular subscribers. If you're not a subscriber at God's White Knight, you need to come over here and subscribe and hit the notification and like the show. More people are liking Chief Blackbear's show than God's White Knight. They're the same show. So, anyways, I see a new button. I don't know what that does. Am I back at Chief Blackbear? Let me know, anybody in the chat room at Chief Blackbear, if I'm back. It says I'm going live, but I don't know. And if you're watching God's White Knight show and you're a new subscriber, this is the way it is. We're not some professional operation. I'm hoping I'm back at Chief Blackbear. You guys know, yeah, I'm back. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, I'm back in the saddle again. All right. I don't know what I did, but I did something wrong. So we had the hospital ships, Great Awakening. All of us on the Lowdown 2020, we're all learning what's going on. And so then, they had to, the woke movement had to badmouth the Great Awakening and try to take the Great Awakening. They stole the narrative. That's what they did. They stole the narrative. And then, the Diddy crowd and all them, they started talking about being woke and woking everybody. And so essentially, what woke was doing, well, they get really mean to anybody that was a 17th letter type a 17er, I used to call him. If you were anywhere near a 17er or a P-Mert supporter, I mean, it would just be real mean to you and go out of their way to troll you and wreck your life in real life. It would just be real mean to you if you were a 17er or a P-Mert supporter. And so, and they grew real fast. The awakening didn't happen very fast. And it's still happening, by the way. The people still haven't wakened up. But the woke people, they woke. But the awakened people did not awaken yet. They're still awakening. They're still asleep. But the woke people, they're woke. Because what you had, the Black Lives Matter crowd was a big crowd. And essentially what they did was woke the black people. And then the black people had influence over the Mexicans and a lot of white people. Because if you notice, they quit promoting rock and roll, the big media, not media, but entertainment, music. They quit promoting rock and roll and started promoting hip hop real heavily. And the black community took over a bigger chunk of the entertainment business than what they had previously had. And then a bunch of white people were doing the Black Lives Matter thing. A lot of white businesses were promoting it. And it was really a white man thing. It really wasn't even nothing to do with black people. It was Sorry George, funding the woke movement through hip hop and Diddy and all that. And so then, not sure how old Justin Bieber was back then, but he was probably an adult. But when Justin Bieber was just a boy, like 15, Diddy and them started doing Bieber. And, it's kind of sad, but it's true. And but Bieber wasn't the only one. But he's sort of like an American hero in a way because he blew the whistle on Diddy. Tupac did also, but Tupac got gunned down over that. You know, Tupac said that Diddy did Tupac, and then that's why they gunned him down because Tupac wouldn't keep his mouth shut, so he got gunned down. Supposedly, he might have fake died, but I think he got killed. So we've made it up to about to where you got the Great Awakening and the woke movement both going simultaneously, and we're still in 2020. In early 2020, say maybe April, maybe May almost. Okay, so then you got the presidential election between P. Mert and the Biden bot going on. And it was looking like a done deal. P. Mert was going to win it for sure. And then we had the election, and P. Mert did not win it, or did he? I guess he did, but they said he didn't. But so then that was real big and controversial. And then Tupac's alive, okay, but Tupac was the first one to blow the whistle on Diddy way back then, which is why that was in the '90s, wasn't it? But then he started gunning down all kinds of other rappers, and what they were doing was they would get some young black kid that did not have a father, that only had a mother, and then they'd make him millions of dollars, and then they'd kill him and rip off the kid's mother, and the big business would just keep all the money. But the kid's mother wouldn't know how to handle the fact that her child had been murdered, and he's making millions of dollars even though he's dead. But the kid's mom wouldn't know how to get the money. So that became a big business to kill the rappers so that they'd continue to sell the music, and like the music companies, the record companies would make the money, not the kid's family, the rapper's family. Didn't Bieber marry Stephen Baldwin's daughter? Yeah, I think not to mention it. I think so, or at least dated. So, anyways, through the presidential election and the cover charge where you needed the ID and the $19 and all that, they were the woke movement and the Great Awakening were kind of growing simultaneously. But at that point, the woke movement carried the day. I mean, that they kind of won the battle. The awakened people all got kicked off of YouTube and basically had to run for their lives. A lot of them got sick and had a lot of problems. If you were like if you were an awakened person, they would come after you and really make your life miserable, commit a lot of crimes against you. Meanwhile, the woke people would get like elevated. If you were woke, you got elevated to the top of the hierarchy. If you were awake, you got oppressed to the bottom of the hierarchy. And anytime you would talk about anything like awaken, they would vilify you, chastise you, and stuff like that, and really make you look real stupid and like you're an idiot, and they just outcast you, turn you into an outcast if you were like an awakened person. At least here in California, especially Santa Barbara, especially me. But on YouTube also and Facebook and all that, they had shadow banning, and I mean, you couldn't say stuff on Twitter, YouTube, or Facebook, Instagram. You couldn't say nothing. Like any of the awakened points, you couldn't say it, but you could say anything you wanted woke. I mean, especially talking bad about PMERT. And the reason you can't talk about PMERT now, you can't talk good about them. You can talk bad about PMERT now, but you can't say anything good about them. You'll get in a lot of trouble if you say something good about PMERT. And kind of the same thing with urge kefir. That's RJ KFR backwards. Or get that? Urge kefir. You can't say anything good about him. And then there's all the people like Fauci and Scarface. You couldn't say nothing bad about them. You get deleted for talking about Fauci back then. That's why you got Colin Fauci. But I learned how to talk in code, and it kept me going for years. But they finally got me for doing a video book that was about the child in the middle of the road by the reverse of 701. And I wrote like the reverse of 7. I should have did a different title. I have to change it later before I get these shows deleted. So, anyways, we had the the awakening and the woke movement, both moving up. And I'm going to end the show at 107. Both shows, I'm going to time it to ready to end at 107 because it is 107. By the way, it's my granddaughter's birthday. She was coincidentally born on January 7th. Wasn't that a coincidence? Today's her birthday. But isn't it a coincidence that the Los Angeles is burning up like you can't imagine? It is bad on 107 day. What a coincidence. Kind of like on October 7th when Israel got attacked. What a coincidence that was. But yeah, so I gotta say more about the reverse of 701, but we're just talking about the day itself is 107 day, but talking code, I should say the reverse of 701 day. And one of the things I'm going to be watching for is July 1st. Like, let's see. Oh, by the way, I know what happens on July 1st. That's when my restraining order expires. The city of Santa Barbara has a restraining order against me, and they got it on July 1st. Now that's 701. What a coincidence that is, huh, Joni? That trial was on July 1st. What a coincidence. 701. You got to do everything backwards in this business. So what's 701 backwards? Oh, 107. Huh. I wonder who's behind all this stuff. I mean, if you were going to try to pick somebody and say, oh, that guy planned the fire in LA right now, which is seriously bad news. I mean, it's really bad. But if you were going to try to pin it on somebody, who would you try to pin it on? And the same thing with the Israel attack. If you're going to try to pin that on somebody, who would you try to pin it on? I mean, and everything's all about this numerology, and they love dates. things got to happen on a certain date at a certain time. And so if you're going to pin this fire on somebody that happens on January 7th, that's the first month of the year and the seventh day, who would you pin it on? You guys can just chat in the numbers on both shows. You just give me some numbers there. What number, person code number, would you pin it on today's fire and on the Hamas attack on Israel? Does anybody want to try to pin this on anybody? Having a little trouble with the computer. I'm trying to see where we're at. Okay, so here we go on God's White Knights channel. We've been into the show for an hour and 7 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and shut it down. I already missed an hour and 7 seconds. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. It's January 7th. That's 1:07. Shutting the show down an hour and 7 minutes in. So you guys have a good night. This is God's White Knight saying over and out. Now getting back to Chief Blackbear, who is still here. I enjoyed the show, you guys. Joni and We Need Peace and Wendy. Glad to see you're still there. You guys have a good night. This is God's White Knight, author of Chief Blackbear. You have a good night, everybody. Over and out.